Hey there, welcome to the channel. Have you ever looked back at a history book and thought, wow, things really had to go that way? Because same. The world as we know it is a product of countless events, but some moments stand out as pivotal turning points, revolutions. And no, I don't just mean guys in powdered wigs having a strong disagreement. We're talking about seismic shifts in power, ideology, and social structures. Revolutions that toppled empires, birthed nations, and fundamentally changed the way we understand the world. Over the next few episodes, we're going to embark on a journey through time to explore some of the most significant revolutions in history. From the battlefields of colonial America to the streets of revolutionary Paris, we'll uncover the causes, the key players, and the lasting consequences of these monumental events. So, buckle up, because we're about to delve into the dramatic, messy, and often inspiring stories of revolution. We'll examine the struggles for liberty and equality, the clash of ideologies, and the enduring impact these revolutions have had on our world today. Our first stop takes us to the 18th century, to the 13 British colonies clinging to the eastern edge of North America. Now, you can't talk about the American Revolution without talking about taxes. You know, no taxation without representation, the rallying cry that echoed through the colonies. But it wasn't just about the money, though that was a major sticking point. The colonists were increasingly chafing under British rule, feeling like their freedoms were being trampled on. They developed their own identity, distinct from their British counterparts across the Atlantic. Then came the Boston Tea Party in 1773, a defiant act of protest against tea taxes that landed right in Boston Harbor. This wasn't just a bunch of colonists having a tantrum over their Earl Grey. This was a full-on symbolic middle finger to British authority. The British responded with a series of increasingly restrictive measures known as the Intolerable Acts, further fueling the flames of rebellion, and thus the stage was set for a revolution. In 1775, tensions boiled over into armed conflict. The battles of Lexington and Concord marked the beginning of the American Revolutionary War. A ragtag group of determined individuals fought for liberty and self-governance. Thomas Jefferson penned the Declaration of Independence in 1776. In 1783, the Treaty of Paris recognized the independence of the United States. From the battlefields of America, we crossed the Atlantic to France, a land simmering with its own discontent. The French Revolution didn't explode out of nowhere. It was the culmination of years of social and economic tensions. Imagine a society divided into three rigid estates. The clergy and nobility enjoyed privilege and power. The third estate, peasants, merchants, lawyers, doctors, bore the tax burden. Add a financial crisis, partly due to supporting the American Revolution, and you've got a recipe for unrest. The monarchy, led by King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, seemed oblivious to the growing discontent. Inspired by American ideals, the people yearned for liberty and equality. The year is 1789, and France is on the brink. The Estates General, a long-dormant assembly representing the three estates, is convened to address the kingdom's woes. But the Third Estate, feeling marginalized and ignored, breaks away and forms the National Assembly, vowing to create a new constitution for France. Meanwhile, in the streets of Paris, rumors and anxieties run rampant. On July 14th, a mob of Parisians, fueled by fear and anger, stormed the Bastille, a symbol of royal authority. This act of defiance, the storming of the Bastille, became a defining moment in the French Revolution. The revolution was in full swing. The National Assembly adopted the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, proclaiming the fundamental rights and freedoms of all citizens. It was a radical document, asserting the principles of popular sovereignty and equality before the law. But the path to revolution is rarely smooth. France was plunged into years of turmoil and violence as different factions vied for power and the monarchy fought to maintain its grip. The French Revolution was a complex and often contradictory event, marked by both idealism and bloodshed. We're journeying to Saint-Domingue to explore the Haitian Revolution, a story of incredible resilience, of an enslaved population rising up for freedom. Imagine the scent of sugarcane, a bitter reminder of plantation life. Saint-Domingue, a French colony, was a sugar powerhouse, fueled by enslaved Africans. This system was a powder keg. Inspired by the American and French revolutions, the enslaved began to organize. The seeds of rebellion were sown. In 1791, the moment arrived. A Vodou ceremony at Bois Caiman led by Dutty Boukman ignited a rebellion. Flames of defiance spread, consuming plantations. This was the beginning of the end of slavery in Haiti. From the chaos of the rebellion emerged remarkable leaders, individuals who rose from the depths of slavery to lead their people in a fight for liberation. One such figure was Toussaint Louverture. Toussaint, a former slave, possessed a strategic mind and unwavering determination. In 1804, Haiti declared its independence, becoming the first nation to abolish slavery. How about a revolution driven by technology? Dive into the whirlwind of innovation that was the Industrial Revolution. A gradual transformation reshaped societies, economies, and daily life. New technologies in late 18th century Britain changed the world forever. The steam engine revolutionized industries like textile production. It was like replacing oxen with a mechanical beast. The Industrial Revolution was about interconnected innovations. The spinning jenny and power loom increased textile production. Clothing became more affordable and accessible. Factories sprouted up, and so did cities. People flocked from rural areas seeking work. The Industrial Revolution was about profound societal shifts. The Industrial Revolution brought remarkable progress, but it wasn't without downsides. Factories and booming cities came with a cost. Working conditions were harsh and dangerous, and the environmental impact was significant. The Industrial Revolution was a double-edged sword, bringing advancements and new challenges. From the smoky factories of the Industrial Revolution, we travel to the vast Russian Empire at the turn of the 20th century. Imagine a nation grappling with social unrest, economic inequality. This is the backdrop against which the Russian Revolution unfolds, toppling centuries-old monarchical rule and giving rise to the Soviet Union. While Tsar Nicholas II presided over a lavish court, the majority of Russians lived in poverty. In February 1917, food shortages and economic hardship ignited protests in Petrograd. The February Revolution forced Tsar Nicholas II to abdicate, ending Romanov rule. Among the Soviets, a new political force was gaining traction, the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin. Lenin rallied the Bolsheviks with the slogan, "Peace, Land, and Bread." In October 1917, the Bolsheviks, led by Lenin and Trotsky, seized power. This marked the creation of the Soviet Union, impacting global politics and sparking the rise of communism. All right, let's turn our attention eastward to China, a land with a history as vast as its territory. By the early 20th century, China, once a mighty empire, found itself weakened and exploited, struggling under the weight of internal strife and foreign influence. Imagine a giant, weighed down, trying to find its footing. The once esteemed Qing dynasty, ruling since the 17th century, was in decline, grappling with corruption, economic woes, and a growing sense of nationalism among its people. It's like that moment when you realize the concert you're super excited for is actually just a cover band. Disappointment doesn't even begin to cover it. This discontent fueled resentment towards the ruling elite and foreign powers who carved out spheres of influence within China, undermining its sovereignty. It's kind of like finding out your favorite restaurant is serving frozen food. The illusion of authenticity is shattered. This tumultuous backdrop set the stage for revolution, a struggle for a new China, free from both internal decay and external pressure. And believe me, this wasn't just a minor political shakeup. This was a seismic shift in the very fabric of Chinese society. Amid this chaos, two major factions emerged. The Nationalist Party, or Kuomintang, KMT, led by Chiang Kai-shek, and the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, led by the enigmatic Mao Zedong. It's a classic case of you call it a dictatorship, I call it a difference of opinion. The CCP, inspired by Marxist-Leninist ideology, promised land redistribution and an end to exploitation, resonating deeply with China's vast peasant population. Think Robin Hood, but with a 5-year plan. Following years of brutal civil war, punctuated by a brief alliance against Japanese invaders during World War II, the CCP ultimately triumphed in 1949. It's one of those historical ironies, uniting against a common enemy only to go back to fighting each other later. This victory marked the birth of the People's Republic of China, a communist state that would go on to become a global superpower. It's a lot to cover in one section, but the Chinese Revolution's impact on the world? Let's just say we're still feeling the aftershocks. Let's shift gears geographically and head over to the Caribbean, where the Cuban Revolution dramatically reshaped the political landscape. Imagine a tropical paradise, palm trees swaying, turquoise waters. Oh, and a simmering cauldron of social and political unrest. That's Cuba in the 1950s. Under the rule of Fulgencio Batista, Cuba was plagued by corruption, inequality, and a heavy American influence. Think of it like this. You're having a great time at the beach, but you realize you're not allowed to swim past a certain point, and the lifeguard keeps giving you the side eye. This American influence, while often glamorized in popular culture, masked a system that often benefited foreign interests at the expense of ordinary Cubans. It's like that friend who comes over, eats all your food, and then leaves without doing the dishes. This discontent created a fertile ground for revolution, and it wasn't long before a charismatic young lawyer named Fidel Castro stepped onto the stage, ready to challenge the status quo. In 1953, Castro, along with his brother Raúl and a band of revolutionaries, including the iconic Ernesto Che Guevara, launched an ill-fated attack on the Moncada barracks. Imagine trying to rob Fort Knox, except you only brought your buddies and some rusty pistols. The attack failed, but it did something arguably more important. It ignited the flame of rebellion. It's like accidentally setting off the fire alarm at school. You're in trouble, but hey, at least everyone's paying attention now. Forced into exile in Mexico, Castro regrouped, returning to Cuba in 1956 to launch a guerrilla war from the Sierra Maestra Mountains. Think of it like a historical game of hide-and-seek, but with much higher stakes. Gathering support among the rural population and exploiting Batista's weakening grip on power, the revolutionaries steadily gained ground, eventually forcing Batista to flee the country on New Year's Day 1959. And that, my friends, is how you turn a New Year's resolution into a full-blown revolution. Let's journey to the Middle East for the Iranian Revolution of 1979. A nation grappling with rapid modernization and a clash between tradition and modernity. Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, a U.S. ally, faced criticism for his authoritarian rule. Enter Ayatollah Khomeini, who galvanized opposition through smuggled cassette tapes. Khomeini's message united Iranians under Islamic values and resistance against foreign influence. As 1978 progressed, protests, fueled by economic hardship, social inequalities, and Khomeini's powerful rhetoric, escalated dramatically. Imagine a pressure cooker, the heat steadily rising, the steam building. It's only a matter of time before it explodes. The Shah, facing mounting pressure, fled Iran in January 1979, paving the way for Khomeini's triumphant return from exile and the establishment of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Picture a nation holding its breath, caught between hope and uncertainty as a new era dawned. The revolution sent shockwaves throughout the world, highlighting the potent mix of religion and politics and ushering in an era of Islamic governance that continues to shape Iran's destiny today. It was a revolution that challenged the existing world order, and its legacy remains a subject of intense debate and analysis. This was a revolution that toppled a monarchy, established a theocracy, and forever altered the geopolitics of the Middle East. It's a story of faith, power, and the enduring human desire for self-determination, even when the path forward is shrouded in uncertainty. We're traveling to the Indian subcontinent, a land with a rich history and diverse cultures. By the 18th century, the British East India Company had established a strong foothold in India. It wasn't just about tea and spices, it was about control and power. Imagine a company having its own army and collecting taxes. This set the stage for British colonialism's deep impact on India. This control wasn't without resistance. The Sepoy Mutiny of 1857 highlighted growing tensions. It marked the end of company rule and the beginning of direct British Crown control. This shift saw the rise of Indian nationalism. No discussion about Indian independence is complete without mentioning Mahatma Gandhi. Returning in 1915, Gandhi brought Satyagraha, a unique approach to resistance. This philosophy emphasized nonviolent resistance and civil disobedience. Gandhi's message resonated deeply with the Indian people. He led campaigns, boycotts, and mass protests, advocating unity and justice. Post-war, Britain granted India independence in 1947. The partition led to mass migrations and widespread violence. Let's fast forward to the 21st century and a series of events that shook the Arab world, the Arab Spring. Imagine a wave of protests, demonstrations, and uprisings sweeping across a region, fueled by a shared desire for change. The Arab Spring, which began in Tunisia in late 2010, wasn't a monolithic movement. It was a complex tapestry woven from years of frustration with authoritarian rule, economic inequality, and lack of basic freedoms. The self-immolation of Mohamed Bouazizi, a Tunisian street vendor, became a tragic catalyst. His desperate act ignited a firestorm of anger and frustration that resonated across the region. From Tunisia to Egypt, Libya to Yemen, Bahrain to Syria, people took to the streets demanding change. The Arab Spring wasn't a singular event with a clear-cut ending. It was a journey with triumphs, setbacks, and ongoing struggles. Some countries saw the fall of dictators, others saw new authoritarian regimes. The aftermath has been marked by political instability and economic challenges. The hopes for democratic reforms have been met with mixed results. The Arab Spring underscored the power of people to demand change. From the Americas to Asia, from Europe to Africa, we've explored revolutions that reshaped our world. These events transformed societies and challenged power structures. History is a conversation between the past, present, and future. The fight for freedom and justice is ongoing. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Subscribe for more explorations into the past. See you next time.